Did you know that India's history with dams goes back more than 2,000 years? Seriously. In this explainer, we're going to dive into the whole story of India's dams, from way back in ancient times to all the modern-day debates. By the time we're done, you are going to have everything you need to absolutely nail this chapter in your board exams. So, let's jump right in.
Hey everyone. This explainer is brought to you by A1 Institute, and our one and only goal here is to give you the clarity and the confidence you need to crush this chapter in your exams.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to travel back in time to check out India's ancient water wisdom. Then, we'll zoom forward to post-independence India and talk about the temples of modern India. After that, we'll get into the tricky stuff, the controversies around dams, and look at the famous Sardar Sarovar case. And to wrap it all up, we'll hit the key takeaways you absolutely need for your exams. It's going to be a packed session, so let's do this. Okay, let's get into our first section. You might think that building these huge structures to control rivers is a pretty modern idea. But the truth, it has incredibly deep roots right here in Indian history. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's amazing. It shows that India has been a leader in water management for literally thousands of years. We've got proof of really sophisticated dams and irrigation systems all the way back in the 1st century BC during the Mauryan Empire, and it keeps going. In the 11th century, there was Bhopal Lake, a massive artificial lake, and then in the 14th century, you have the Hauz Khas tank in Delhi, built just to supply water to the city. It's wild to think we're still dealing with some of the same challenges today. Now, let's fast forward to the post-independence era. After 1947, a newly independent India had this huge, bold vision for its rivers, and dams were right at the center of that dream.
Okay, first things first, let's lock in this key definition because it could easily show up on your exam. So what is a dam? It's simply a barrier that's built across a river. Its job is to block or slow down the water, which then creates a big reservoir behind it. Sounds simple, right? But it's an incredibly powerful concept. You have got to remember this quote. It perfectly captures the whole feeling of that post-independence period. India was a young nation, full of big dreams. And dams, they were seen as these shining symbols of progress, the key to unlocking the country's economic potential. For Nehru and other leaders, dams weren't just concrete and water. Nope. They were about building a brand new, modern India.
And here's a perfect example of what they were talking about. This is the Hirakud Dam. As you can see, it is a massive structure, and it was built to do way more than just hold back water. It generates electricity, it provides water for farms, and it helps control floods. It really is a temple of modern India. So, why were these multi-purpose projects such a big deal? Well, just like the name says, they were designed to do a ton of different things all at once. Look at all this. You've got irrigation for farms, electricity for homes and industries, clean drinking water, flood control for cities, and even things like recreation and fishing. It was like a Swiss Army knife for managing the nation's water. But the story doesn't stop there. Over time, these so-called temples started to show a darker side, sparking huge debates and protests across the country that are actually still going on today. Let's see how this all unfolded. And this brings us to a huge question, right? If these dams can do so much good, why do so many people oppose them? It's a really complex issue, and there are definitely no easy answers. But in this section, we're going to dig into some of the big reasons why that grand vision for dams started to get challenged. Think about a river for a second. It's like a living thing, right? It has a natural flow, a pulse, a life of its own. Now imagine you build a giant concrete wall right in the middle of it. That's a dam. It completely disrupts that natural flow, and that disruption has all sorts of negative effects on the river's entire ecosystem, especially for the creatures living in it. And the costs? They can be staggering. We're talking about millions of people forced to leave their homes, entire villages disappearing underwater, and ancient forests just gone forever. It's not just about losing land. It's about losing your culture, your community, your entire way of life. And that's just the human cost. On the environmental side, dams can cause all sorts of issues, from making soil too salty to even triggering earthquakes. It's a really heavy price to pay for progress. Now, this is a huge irony, and it's a fantastic point to make in your exam. Dams are often built to control floods, but sometimes they can actually make them worse. How? Well, sediment, silt and rock, builds up behind the dam, which reduces how much water it can hold. So when a heavy rain comes, the dam can overflow way faster, causing a massive destructive flood downstream.
To really get our heads around this complex issue, there is no better example than one of the most famous and controversial dams in India. So let's zoom in and take a closer look at the Sardar Sarovar Dam.
Okay, so here on the map you can see the Narmada River winding its way through central India. The Sardar Sarovar Dam is located right here. And as you can tell just by looking, its impact isn't just local. It affects a huge part of the country. The Sardar Sarovar Dam is an absolutely enormous project. It's so big, in fact, that it directly impacts 4 different states. And as you can probably guess, that has led to a lot of conflict. Every state wants to make sure it gets its fair share of water and power, and that's led to some pretty intense political and legal battles over who gets what. But on the other hand, the promise of this project is just massive. It's designed to bring water to over 15 lakh hectares of land, a lot of which is in the super dry, drought-prone areas of Gujarat and Rajasthan. For the farmers there, this water isn't just helpful, it's a lifeline.
So the Sardar Sarovar Dam is really a perfect example of this clash. On one side, you have farmers who desperately need that water. But on the other, you have local communities, many of them tribal, who are being pushed out of their homes. And right in the middle of it all, you have social movements like the Narmada Bachao Andolan, which has been fighting for decades to protect the rights of those people and the environment.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground. So now let's boil it all down into the key points that you need to remember so you can write a perfect answer in your exam. Just remember these 4 key arguments. Number 1, India has an ancient history of water management. 2, after independence, dams were seen as temples of modern development. 3, the reality is way more complicated, with huge social and environmental costs. And 4, these conflicts aren't over. The debates about big dams are still happening today. If you can frame your answer around these 4 points, you are going to do great.
So where does that leave us? Are dams these amazing temples of progress, or are they serious ecological threats? Honestly, it's a question India is still wrestling with. And as we look to the future, finding the right balance between our need for development and our responsibility to protect our people and our environment, well, that's the biggest challenge of all. I really hope this explainer was useful for you. If it was, please do us a huge favor and hit that like button, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to the A1 Institute channel for more exam-focused content just like this.
And hey, if you're looking for detailed notes, expert guidance, or you want to join our classes, please don't hesitate to contact us at A1 Institute. All the details, including our phone number, are waiting for you in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and all the very best for your exams.